All right, guys. So we're going to go ahead here and start working on our college app that we started yesterday in class. All right. So today our goal is, we're going to take our app and let's bring it up here. So here's Xcode. So here's the app that we were working on yesterday. We've got 4 colleges in there, and our goal today here is that we want to be able to add some new information here. So maybe the user is using this app, they found a new college that they are interested in, they would like to add that college to it. We're going to give them the ability to do that, by just pressing a simple button and then adding the new college directly to the table that you guys created yesterday in class. Okay, so a few steps to do that. All right, but again, I think after we get done with that, we'll talk about how to delete the information. So maybe they want to change it, but we'll split that up into a couple different videos, so that way it's you can just focus on one thing at a time. All right, here we go. Right now we are. Oh yeah, I've got it. I'm sorry, I've got an old thing built here right now. Just stop that here and we'll get to where we need to be. All right, but we'll get moving here. So I'm just going to clean up a couple issues here just to make sure. Yes, I'm just going to get rid of that outlet there and we're good. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. So let's start on the storyboard. So we want to give them an area to be able to enter in a new college and then press a button to add it to the table view. So to begin doing that, let's go ahead and search for a text field. All right, we're going to put that text field right here in the top, okay, in our navigation bar area. You'll notice it gives us a really small little text field. Obviously, we need that to be bigger, but you're probably having a hard time clicking on that. All right, so to access that, to just lengthen a little bit, open up your outline view. All right, we're going to click on the rounded style text field, and then we'll go ahead and we'll just drag that out a little bit. Right about there is a good length. Okay, so that's a little longer. They can type in their college into that one. All right, so what we need to do is we need to make an outlet for that. Okay, so let's just close out the views here. So I've got my storyboard, I got my code. All right, so we're going to go ahead and control drag to here, and we'll just call this my text field. Okay, so that's the first step for the day here. All right, next thing we're going to do, all right, is after they push their item in here, they need to have a button to press that tells the app to go ahead and take the college and add it to the text view, or to the table, excuse me. So it's going to be a button, but it's a little different type of button. So this one we're going to look for is a bar button item. Okay, so this is the item that we can add to navigation bars. So we're going to take that, we're going to drag it. When you put it up here, you'll notice it shows you 2 areas where you can place it. So we'll place it right here, and it leaves us with this kind of template filler text of item. We want to change that. So with the item selected, let's go to our attributes inspector. And then under system item, you can see they've got these different options we can use. So if you click on a couple of these, you'll notice these are icons that if you use an iPhone, you might recognize some of these, all right? But they have different meanings for different purposes. For our app, we want to use this to add. So we're just going to click on the add one, and it gives us just a nice looking plus sign, which the user should be able to identify as, here's the button I pressed to add. Okay, so we're going to go ahead. We need to make an action for this button here. So we're going to add this between view did load and all of our table view stuff. Okay, so let's go ahead and control drag from the button to right about here. Change the connection type to an action. We'll call it button pressed and go ahead and connect that. Okay, so that gives us a nice action there that we can work with. And then we've got one more step to do, and let's just leave it here in the split view because we're going to control drag from the table view and make an outlet for it. All right, we'll go ahead and make sure that when you drag from the table view, the type should be UI table view. We can just call this my table view. Okay, so that's all we need to do there. So again, we added a text field, a button. We hooked up our text field to an outlet, hooked up our button to an action. Then we dragged from the table view and made an outlet and calling it my table view. Okay, so now we need to go into the code and give the user the ability to add a college here. So we're going to do all of this in the next step inside of our button pressed action that we just created. All right, so again, what we want to do is we want to add to these 4 colleges that are already here. Okay, but again, we don't just want to type in 4 more colleges or 3 more. We want the user to have control of what ones go in there. All right, so to do that, we're going to call the array. So mine is colleges, and then we need to add to the array. All right, so there's a couple ways, or there's one way to do this, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go dot append. Okay, so when we do that, it gives us this function, but it's asking for a parameter. Okay, so basically the word append means we're going to add to the array. So whatever we put here is going to add it to our existing college array right here. Okay, so now it's looking for a string. So the string we're going to use is whatever they type into my text field. So whatever college they type into the text field, we need to add to the array. So to make that happen, we need to call my text field, dot text with an exclamation point after it, and then that's the first step. So what's going to happen here, so when the app's running, we won't see this because this is the code that'll be going on here. They'll press the button, and whatever college they type in here gets plugged into this array. Okay, so that's the first step. Next thing we need to do is we need to get that new college to show up into the table view, because right now it won't do that. It's just going to add it to the array, right? Because once the table loads, again, we have to give it a meaning. Basically, we have to tell it to reload with new information. So to do that, we're going to call the my table view outlet that we created, my table view dot reload data. So what this function will do is it's going to reload the table view now, and then once it reloads, it's going to take whatever new college we put in here, and it's going to run us through the code. It's going to create one section. It's going to have now right here colleges.count is going to update. All right, so whatever based on whatever we just added, it's going to update with that new college in there, and then it's going to configure that in our self heroic index path function, and then that new one will show up. Okay, so let's give this a run. Let's see how this one looks here, and then we'll check it out. Okay, so here we go. We got our app here. So we got our 4 colleges. So let's say you went out and you visited, you went to CLC yesterday. So you get type CLC in there, click my plus button, you notice it adds. Okay, let's say then you went up to Wisconsin. I checked out UW-Madison. Click it, so you can see it's adding all that stuff in there. Okay, so this is looking pretty good. All right, so now what we do need to fix up though is you'll notice every time I add a college, the text field is not clearing out, so I got to come back up here and delete that. We don't want to put that on the user. So what you need to do here is just spend a couple minutes here and refresh and add the code to your app that when the button gets pressed, it clears out that text field. So I think you should be able to remember how to do that. I won't show you here. That'll just be a quick little test for you here. So let's go ahead and do that. And once that is all set up here, we're pretty much done with this stage. So the next video, we'll talk about deleting information and basically getting rid of a college that we don't want anymore. But for right now, we're going to stop the video at this point here and then move on to the next one when you're ready. All right, so good job, and then we'll see you in our next video.